listening to Full Circle Weekly News. These articles are compiled by Eric the Unready, and I'm your host, Moth Bliss. This is episode 381, covering week 34, August 19th to 25th, 2024. CachyOS is updated based on Arch Linux and providing a continuous update delivery model. CachyOS is notable for its optimizations to improve performance and the ability to install different desktop environments. In addition to the base KDE-based environment, GNOME, XFCE, i3WM, Wayfire, LXQT, OpenBox, Cinnamon, Cosmic, UKUI, LXDE, Mate, Budgie, Qtile, Hyprland, and Sway are available for installation. ButterFS, ZFS, ext4, XFS, and F2FS can be used as file systems. By default, the Bohr task scheduler is enabled. The kernel and packages are built to include LTO optimizations and use instructions available in processors based on x86-64v3, x86-64v4, and Zen 4 microarchitectures. When assembling basic packages, PGO, Profile Guided Optimization, or BOLT, Binary Optimized and Layout Tool optimizations are additionally used. The distribution comes with a Cachy browser web browser based on Firefox and including changes to enhance security and improve performance, as well as patches from the LibreWolf project. CockroachDB has announced a change in licensing policy, discontinuation of the core version of its DBMS, and a significant limitation of free options. The changes will be applied starting with release 24.3 scheduled for November. The CockroachDB code will continue to be available, but under a restrictive license. Previously, the company offered two DBMS options, the free CockroachDB Core, which offers basic functionality, and the paid CockroachDB Enterprise, which included advanced features and optimizations related to the fault tolerance, scaling, and information protection. The free version is now being discontinued, and two new enterprise editions are offered for deploying CockroachDB on your servers, which contain all the advanced features but have restrictions on use. The CockroachDB Enterprise trial, which can only be used for 30 days, and CockroachDB Enterprise Free, which has no time limit but can only be used by individual developers, students, and companies with less than $10 million in annual revenue. Menuet OS 1.53 operating system has been released, where the core is developed entirely in assembly language. Menuet builds are prepared for 64-bit x86 systems and can be run under QEMU. The system build occupies 1.4 megabytes and is created in the form of a floppy disk image and an ISO image for burning to CD or running in VirtualBox. The source of the Menuet 64 project is distributed under a restrictive license requiring approval for any commercial use, and Menuet 32 is licensed under the GPL. The system supports preemptive multitasking, booting on UEFI systems and SMP on multi-core systems. The project also develops its own X server and provides a built-in graphical user interface with support for themes, drag-and-drop operations, UTF-8 encoding, and switching keyboard layouts. It offers its own integrated development environment for developing applications in assembly language. The operating system includes a network stack, drivers for Ethernet and USB 2.0, AC97 and Intel HDA, ALC662/888 audio codecs. The project develops a simple HTTPC web browser, mail and FTP clients, a VNC client, FTP and HTTP servers, and applications for viewing images, editing text, working with files, watching videos, and playing music. They suggest using the NDN, Necromancer's DOS Navigator file manager, ported to Menuet OS. It is possible to run a DOS emulator for games such as Quake and Doom. Recent changes to Menuet OS include the inclusion of the M-Player multimedia player, a new design of the interface and menu system, support for executable files in the ELF format, and the provision of components for compatibility with Linux. Compatibility with Linux is ensured by a POSIX base layer that allows you to create GUI applications that can run on Menuet and Linux/X11, as well as a native X server written in assembly language, to which you can redirect the output of an application running on an external system with Linux to display its interface in Menuet OS. Oracle has published Solaris 11.4 SRU72, which offers a series of major changes and improvements for the Solaris 11.4 branch. To install the fixes offered in the update, simply run the package update command. Users can also take advantage of the free Solaris 11.4 CBE edition, which is developed using a continuous release model. The Document Foundation presented LibreOffice 24.8. Ready-made installation packages are prepared for various Linux, Windows, and Mac OS distributions. LibreOffice 24.8 is labeled Community, will be supported by enthusiasts and is not aimed at enterprise use. LibreOffice Community is available free of charge to everyone without exception, including corporate users. For enterprises that need additional services, products of the LibreOffice Enterprise family are being developed separately, for which partner companies will provide full support, the ability to receive updates over a long period of time, and additional functions such as service level agreements. The August consolidated update of the KDE Gear 24.08 is presented. This is the third major update to the suite of applications published as part of the KDE 6 branch and after the transition to using the Qt6 library. The suite contains releases of 250 programs, libraries, and plugins. Information about the availability of live builds with the new application releases is available at the website. New versions of individual applications can be downloaded from the FlatHub and Snapcraft stores. The developers of GIMP announced that they are moving the GIMP 3 branch to the string data freeze stage, which stops making changes to the text strings shown in the interface. Freezing these strings is one of the final stages of release preparation and is done to give time to the teams involved in translating the interface into various languages to complete their work so that they are not distracted by tracking changes in already translated elements. An exception is made only when correcting typos and errors that lead to changes in lines. All functionality planned for a future release is ready, and the remaining tasks will not require line changes. The next stage will freeze the API from making changes. A release candidate, GIMP 3.0.0-RC1, will be generated, and work will be carried out to identify and correct errors identified in it. Depending on the test results, a second release candidate may be published. The timing of freezing the API and generating release candidates has not yet been determined. The GIMP 3.0 branch offers improvements such as a transition to GTK3, native support for Wayland and high DPI, basic support for the CMYK color model, significant cleanup of the code base, a new API for plugin development, render caching, support for selecting multiple layers, editing in the original color space, initial implementation of non-destructive editing mode. Midnight Commander 4.8.32 has been released. Developed since 1994 and providing a two-pane interface in the style of Norton Commander, Midnight Commander features things like mouse support, a built-in file viewer and text editor with syntax highlighting, the use of virtual files for navigation within archives, packages, and network storage, connecting handlers for various file types, and a quick transition to terminal mode to run commands, use bookmarks to navigate to frequently used places in the file system, flexible search tools. The project code is written in C and is distributed on a GPL v3 Plus license. The Surreal Engine project develops open implementation of the first versions of the Unreal Engine game engine and aims to provide the ability to run games using maps from the original Unreal Tournament game released in 1999 without using the original proprietary engine. In addition to Windows, the project supports Linux using the SDL2, Wayland PP, and Libasound 2 libraries. The project is written in C++ and distributed under the zlib open license. At the current stage of development, the Surreal engine can load and draw maps and supports almost all the capabilities of Unreal scripts. Only arrays and some networking capabilities have not yet been implemented. It supports detection of resources from the following games based on the Unreal Engine 1, Unreal Tournament, Unreal Gold, Deus Ex, Klingon Honor Guard, Nerf Arena Blast, TNN Outdoors Pro Hunter, Rune Classic, Clive Barker's Undying, Tactical Ops Assault on Terror, and Wheel of Time. Most are still crashing, though. Linus Torvalds wrote that he was beginning to regret that he had accepted the Bcachefs file system for inclusion in the 6.11-RC5 kernel. Torvalds' dissatisfaction is due to the fact that Kent Overstreet, at the stage of final release candidates, sent two voluminous fixes which in fact not only correct errors but also continue to develop functionality, despite the fact that functional changes are allowed only at the initial stage of development of a new branch. The patch sent for Bcachefs, which added 1,309 lines and deleted 671 lines in 39 files, included two significant changes in addition to bug fixes: support for a new data structure for managing the list of free elements in the cache, and the ability to transform hash tables for the cache. A new structure has been added to eliminate unnecessary cache locks and avoid situations that could lead to lock contention in multi-threaded workloads. This is not the first time that major fixes for Bcachefs have been pushed after the push window, nor is it the first time that simple bug fixes have been pushed to include heavier feature additions through push requests in the final stages of a new branch's development. On August 25, 1991, after 5 months of work, 21-year-old Linus Torvalds announced a working prototype of the Linux kernel on the comp.os.minix newsgroup, for which the completion of ports of Bash 1.08 and GCC 1.40 was noted. The first public release of the Linux kernel was announced on September 17th. Kernel 0.0.1 was 62 kilobytes in size in compressed form and contained about 10,000 lines of source code. Linus originally thought of calling the kernel FreeX, from the words free, freak, and X, as in Unix, but thanks to Art Lemke, who at Linus's request posted the kernel on the university's FTP server, the name Linux was given to the directory. William Delacroce managed to register the Linux trademark and wanted to collect royalties over time, but later changed his mind and transferred all rights to the trademark to Linus. The official mascot of the Linux kernel, Tux the Penguin, was chosen as a result of competition held in 1996. The name Tux stands for Torvald Unix. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.